All right, it's once again time to get in my Ben Buzz Top 25. It's going to be for Week 12. So outside looking in, I got to say it, Kennesaw State, all of a sudden they look really great. I don't think it's enough to get into a top 25, but I really wanted to give them their flowers because, what a season. All of a sudden they're bowl eligible. They're doing all sorts of these great things. They were a team that a lot of people really kind of favored when it came to NCAA when they're trying to really rebuild teams, or sorry, what do they call it? EA College Football 25 or something. I don't know. I prefer doing it as NCAA, but whatever works. I'm just glad we have a game. That's really off topic. Anyways, SMU, huge win. SMU is just such a weird one, man. The win against Miami was great, but then they lose weird to Wake Forest. They're a good team, but I don't think they make a top 25. Similar with Tennessee, where you look like what's the best wins? They have 3 good losses, but keyword 3. And, yeah, I just can't do it. Then Navy. Navy just keeps losing, man. And then they're losing to good teams, though. They lost to Notre Dame. Now, and when they play USF this week, I think they probably will lose that one. So maybe they'll end up being off this list. Then Tulane. Tulane just had a huge win against Memphis. I think they deserve their credit here, so Tulane ends up being there. And then Southern Miss is a great team in the Sun Belt. Now, what I'm really hyped is we get an SMU, Southern Miss, I know because there's another SMU, but Southern Miss, and then JMU. If we get that Sun Belt championship, dude, that is going to be cinema. And as I have it right here, maybe it'll be a ranked matchup, but probably only JMU will be ranked. But still, could be a huge game. And the way Charles Huff has really turned that program around with Southern Miss and all the players he brought from Marshall, he is really great in that regard. He's been great for them. And then Houston's just an awkward win. They're just an awkward one to rank. They just had to lose to West Virginia, didn't they? But, West Virginia, all of a sudden, they're looking better. They just beat Colorado. But anyways, Houston, you can't lose that game. And then Duke is such a weird one because it's just they keep losing, but somehow they're the favorite to win the ACC. Just kind of put it on here to really talk about it. We're just how? Now they just lost to UConn, and they've got 4 losses, but somehow they're in the running, heavily in the running to win the ACC. The ACC is had such a down year. Honestly, I'm so surprised that it's this bad. I can't believe it. Then dropped out. Washington, what are you doing? Wisconsin isn't good. What are you doing, Washington? I'm disgusted. Great job, Washington. They're my number 3 favorite team, something like that. So, Washington, you got to win that game. I can't believe you lose that one. And then Missouri. Listen, the thing is, I didn't want to project them without Purbuell. I knew they were probably going to lose to Texas A&M, and you know how that kind of goes. But I wasn't going to take them out. I'm but Purbuell's out, so I got to take them out. Got to take them out when it's necessary, and it was when they hit that 3-loss number, similar to Tennessee, where it's all right, I'll drop them out now. And then Iowa, and it hurts me to say this as an Iowa fan, but I'm not going to be hypocritical inside of this 3-loss gambit and then say, Iowa's in. It's what are Iowa's best wins? You know what? I agree. What are our best wins? Minnesota? That might be it. So, we don't deserve it unless we beat USC this week and we earn our spot. We don't deserve it either, so I'm trying to not be biased in this, which I was trying to think because I think anytime I involve Iowa in a ranking, I feel biased just because I'm I don't know. Am I just putting Iowa in there? Because, I love my Hawkeyes, but, what happened in that Oregon game? I wanted to win so bad, man. I wanted to win that one so bad. But anyways, they had to drop out as well. And that's where you're starting to get into my top 25. So Virginia's at 25. The loss wasn't great to Wake Forest, and they've been ugly in a lot of games. They've had poor performances. They lost to NC State. Surprisingly, only a 2-loss team, but I really don't feel great about them. Now, I think it's possible they could end up making the playoffs as a recipient of a championship if they end up winning and end up being above another group of 5 team, which is crazy that the ACC might not get any teams, but I think Virginia does deserve a spot in the rankings, but I just feel so weird about Virginia. I never know what to do with Virginia. They feel like such a weird team. Then Cincinnati is a really weird one as well, because it's I think they're pretty good. They have decent wins, and then their loss to Nebraska we thought was pretty good at the time. The Nebraska kind of fell off a cliff a little bit. But, hey, with that backup quarterback that Nebraska's got, is he better than Raiola? Maybe not, but he's playing well. Anyways, Cincinnati is kind of a weird one because, they just got drenched by Utah a few weeks ago. That kind of separated themselves where they could have been, in the top 3 of the Big 12, and now they're kind of 4 or 5-ish, where it's just man, they could have had that one. Then North Texas, South Florida is where those American teams kind of landed for me. North Texas only had 1 loss, and while I'm USF has 2 losses, but I credit USF for the teams that they scheduled. They scheduled 3 ranked teams in a row. Boise State, Florida, Miami. I know 2 of those teams ended up not being great, but by the way, Boise State isn't actually the worst. They got killed as well by Notre Dame, but they've been killing teams. They did end up losing last week, but they haven't been the worst, and USF flattened them. They beat Florida on the road. USF went into the swamp of Florida and won. Georgia barely gutted out one against Florida in a neutral site. So I'm not saying that they're better than Georgia or that they're someone comparable at all. I'm saying is it's tough to go into the swamp and win. We saw what happened with Arch Manning in Texas. Texas is going to appear later on this list. When they went in there, they couldn't handle it. USF did and won the game. And it was kind of a thing where I'm just like, I wanted to put North Texas higher. I really did, because, I mean, they're only one loss. And the way they've been putting up so much numbers and, like, Mestemaker really came into his own. But it's just like, I can't do it. USF put up a 60-burger in North Texas' building. You can't tell me that North Texas should be above them, even though they have the one less loss. And then JMU, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they shouldn't be above these American teams. It's just JMU has been really great, and then their loss against Louisville, I mean, it just continues to look worse. I get it, but Louisville still isn't a bad team, and then they just keep winning out. Like, I think JMU has a good argument to be that Group of 5 recipient. I think it could be an American team, but it might be both. It might be both, because maybe the ACC doesn't get a team. Oh, my goodness. ACC is in shambles, and JMU, I mean, I think they deserve this ranking, and the AP's doing it, the CFP's not, but I do have JMU in there at 21. Then at 20, I had Pitt, and they have a huge game against Notre Dame this week. We'll have to see how it ends up shaking up, but, I mean, they could end up still making a push for that ACC title game if they beat Georgia Tech. But, I mean, Pitt's got a huge win against Notre Dame, but, I mean, you think about the cannibalism that could happen in the ACC. Pitt could lose to Notre Dame, they'd take another loss, but then beat Georgia Tech, and it's like all these teams keep beating up on each other. It's like, is anyone going to make it to the playoff? I don't know. Then that's where Michigan landed for me. Now, it's one of those things where it's just like, I'd like to put Michigan higher. I really would, but you simply can't. USC dominated Michigan. At the end of the day, that's what it is. So USC's got to be above them. Now, Michigan, I mean, Underwood, I was hoping to see more improvement. It felt like we were seeing it. He kind of regressed. I don't know. It's still, I mean, he's a true freshman. He's young. You know, he's still coming into his own, and that's a really young team. I think he will start to improve over the years, but, I mean, I think maybe people had their projections a little too high for him, but, I mean, he's been a lot better than the projections for Arch Manning. Nothing against him, but, I mean, it's just kind of true. Like, Underwood has been decently solid, and then, I mean, USC, they have a huge game against Iowa this week. If depending on the winner of those end up might flipping, or they end up just kind of staying about where they are, or USC goes up a little more. And then Texas. Now, I don't really understand the thought of having Texas too high. I don't really get it. Now, they're at 17, and they do have some solid wins. I'll give them that. The Oklahoma and the Vandy win are pretty good, but the Florida loss isn't great, and then they've just hasn't looked great against a lot of teams. Like, they consistently go to overtime with underachieving SEC teams. It's kind of a similar thing with Virginia. It's like, if we want to knock Virginia down, similar story with Texas, but, I mean, at the end of the day, they're only a 2-loss team. I'm not going to act like they shouldn't be in this list. So they're at 17. And then Miami, I mean, Miami's just such a weird one. Feels like they're, like, a really great team for, like, half of the year, and they just completely collapse. And, I mean, in classic Mario Cristobal fashion, I guess, if you want to call it that, if you think about some of his chokes at Oregon, maybe I was on the campaign saying, hey, Miami's number one. Miami has the best resume, because it felt like they did at the time, but then they just lose and then they look ugly. And I don't know, because the first loss against Louisville wasn't great. I mean, Louisville's a good team though, but I mean, it was in your own building. Carson Beck just played terribly. I mean, 4 interceptions in a game, and he should have thrown 5. One of them was dropped. So, and then you lose to SMU in overtime, and SMU's a good team, but I mean, now all of a sudden the ACC is really at risk of getting any team in. So Miami's at 16, but I mean, I really just don't feel great about Miami. I know the discussion is like Miami and Notre Dame, and kind of like, why is Notre Dame so much far ahead of them? I mean, Miami simply looks not great this year. Now, I think they are a good team, and obviously they're number 16. Maybe I didn't phrase that. I didn't mean to say they're not great, but I mean just like the way they've looked over the past few weeks, it doesn't look like the same team that we saw earlier in the year. I don't understand why Miami consistently does this year in, year out, but I mean, they tease us for a little bit of the year, and then, I mean, they just kind of fall on their face. Now, do I think they'll get back on the horse? I mean, sure. I mean, I think they could be the highest-ranked ACC team, but guess what? It doesn't matter, because they have to have so much help just to get to the ACC championship game. It doesn't matter if they're the highest ranked, because I don't think you're going to find a way to get inside the 10 spots, and they have to win the championship of their conference in order to get above the group of 5. So, I mean, 2 group of 5 teams could make it, and Miami could be left out to dry, but, I mean, Miami's at 16. It's just so weird, so I got Miami at 16. Then at 15, I had Louisville, and they're going to be my highest-ranked ACC team. Listen, the ACC is just kind of in shambles, and Louisville has that great win over Miami. And look, here's the tiebreaker right here. You can't put Miami over Louisville. I mean, Louisville won. You got to give it respect for that. And Miami, has been interesting as well. But, I mean, Louisville is just such a funny one where it's just like, of course, they lose to Cal in overtime. It's tough. But, I mean, think about their 2 losses. I mean, they're so preventable. 2 overtime games. Like, Louisville could be undefeated and could be a top 10 team. Like, they really could be. I had them top 10 a week ago. So, it's just unfortunate to see the drop of Louisville, but they're at 15. Then at 14, I had Utah, and you start to see some Big 12 in there. And I feel like you have to respect the outcome of the Holy War. BYU sits directly above them. BYU lost to Texas Tech, and I think they will start to slowly move back up. But, I mean, that was an unfortunate loss. But, hey, it's kind of their only loss up to this point. And then Vandy. Vandy has some good wins. They just got to win out in overtime. I mean, Vandy's a weird one. It's kind of like I think they deserve their ranking, but they really got to figure this out if they want to make it to the playoffs. And then Oklahoma. I mean, listen, Oklahoma really saved their season with that win against Tennessee. Now, if Oklahoma beats Alabama, I think they're in the playoff. If they lose, probably out, unfortunately, but we'll have to see what ends up happening with Oklahoma. My mom's dad, my grandpa, I guess, but we call him Papa, he's got a really good chance because he's an Oklahoma fan. So he's hoping they end up getting the job done against Alabama like they did last season. So we'll see if they're able to pull that upset off. And that's where you kind of get into my top 10s, kind of like the best of the best. You see Notre Dame sitting there. Listen, they've been looking great. The USC win was pretty good. And honestly, if they get that Pitt win this weekend, I don't think you can say that they don't have that bad of a resume. And at 10-2, I think they're a shoo-in for the playoff. No doubt, it felt like they were going to be a shoo-in pretty much since the USC game, but we'll end up seeing if they end up taking care of business against Pitt. Then Georgia Tech. I mean, listen, Tech is another weird one to rank. Like, they got the loss. I mean, they were doing pretty good up until that point, and then they have the Georgia game. They could lose that one. They have the Pitt game. They could lose that one. We'll see if they end up making it to the ACC championship game. I think they have a pretty good odd to do it, but, I mean, going to have to beat Pitt. And, I mean, we'll see what ends up happening with Georgia Tech, but they're at 9. Then Ole Miss is at 8. And honestly, Ole Miss might almost just be a lock for the playoffs because, I mean, they're going to really have to try to fall out of this thing. So Ole Miss is pretty good. They're sitting there at 8. Then Oregon at 7. Listen, I was very unhappy that they came away with a win against my Hawkeyes. I was very unhappy about it. But listen, at the end of the day, they went into a hostile Big Ten environment. And, I mean, you could see in the game like it was a Big Ten game, which you could maybe say Oregon's not accustomed to. They're from the Pac-12. You know, they're used to winning in different ways, maybe you could say. But, I mean, listen, Oregon won that type of style. And Iowa's building, they did. So credits to them. They move up, and it was a quality win for them. And, I mean, they kicked us out. But, I mean, we were ranked at the time that they did that. But then I can't put them over Texas Tech. Texas Tech has looked great, and I don't think you can make the argument that they're top 5. I feel like the top 5 has really been solidified, and, I mean, we almost just had an upset, but they ended up winning, so they kind of stay in that top 5. But, I mean, Texas Tech is right there. You need someone to slip up. I don't think I can put you up there just yet, but Texas Tech, dominant performance against BYU. Texas Tech's really good. They're at 6. Now here's my top 5. I didn't actually change any of the teams. I did change a spot that I kind of been debating for weeks, and I just saw a really good reason to do that. But let's get on with it. Georgia's at 5, and then Alabama's at 4. I feel like those teams, you can't make an argument otherwise. Alabama had a tough rivalry game against LSU, and LSU was nowhere near what they were, a shell of themselves. But solid win for Alabama, and then, I mean, Georgia, as long as they keep winning, I think they should be fine. They've got tough games. I mean, they both do, but I feel like they should be okay. They could even take a hit. They could take a loss and still be okay. I think both of those teams are fine. And then this is where I put Indiana. Now, maybe this is a problem. Maybe this isn't the way to go. But listen, I think it's without saying that Texas A&M is really building up a resume, and they've had games where they've won several different ways. Offense, defense. If you want to give credit for Indiana in their win against Penn State, and I think type games like that, you have to win those to build character. I agree. But Texas A&M went on the road against Notre Dame, barely got one out, last-second touchdown drive, 41-40. Then they also went on the road against a team that was, an unsucceeding, that was maybe supposed to be a little better, maybe about the same, whatever they were. But they went on the road at a conference opponent that was underachieving, Arkansas, a la Penn State, and what Indiana just did, and gutted one out 45-42 and found a way to win. Texas A&M, point blank, they do. I feel like you have to give them the credit, and also they just had the win against Missouri. I feel like as much as you want to say Indiana and that Oregon game was huge, I think you got to say Texas A&M's resume is kind of stacking up, and especially when you see Indiana be suspect like that, I think you got to give Texas A&M the edge. Hey, maybe I'm in the minority on that, but I feel like that's the way to go. If that's not the way to go, come at me, but I think it is. Then Ohio State, I mean, once again, they're number 1. They just are. They won the Natty last year, so because of that saying, you feel confident in them to be number 1, but I mean, at the end of the day, they just look dominant. Point blank, they are dominant. So Ohio State's going to be number 1, and we got some interesting ranked games, not too many. So a lot of setups for trap games. I mean, we saw some trap games pull off. I mean, Louisville, Virginia fell. I mean, A lot of trap games last week, so we'll see what ends up happening. When those trap games end up kind of changing the top 25, we'll see. I'm hoping they do, and I'm hoping teams like Iowa can find a way to win some of these trap games. I'm hoping, come on, the Hawkeyes got to get it done, but hoping that this top 25 ends up getting changed because, it's kind of solidifying. The top 5 is really settled in, and I think the top 10 is starting to look like that's the top 10. So we'll end up seeing if this top 25 ends up changing too much down the stretch as we're closing out the regular season.